Hello and welcome to the Car Care channel, and in today's video I want to talk to you about the reality and actually show you the reality of modern cars. This is a 2022 Toyota Highlander with just over 30,000 miles, beautiful car, V6, everything, all the good stuff that we like. This car has no AC, or AC is not working, and you might be wondering why is it here instead of the dealership for warranty. Well, because there's a rock that hit the condenser and it leaked out all the refrigerant, and here it is. No warranty, of course, it's the road debris and whatnot. But usually in any car, condenser is not really a difficult thing to replace. Some cars are more involved than others, but generally it's a very simple item to replace. Except in this car we have to tear the entire front end off, which involves calibrating the radar sensor and doing this and that. And in this video, let me walk you through we're going to actually do the job live so you can see it. And we're kind of hope that things at some point in the future get better, because these new cars, the bills are not very budget friendly because things are expensive. There's a lot of labor. You have to tear half the car apart. Let's get to work and you'll see why. So here's what needs to happen. I can see the condenser, but I can't quite get to it. And the reason for that is they put these big baffles here, and the only way to remove them is basically rip them out, and we don't want to do that, because the proper procedure is to pull the bumper off, pull these out, which installed before the bumper is installed, do it properly. Folks, this is basic. To me, this is a new car. We're not going to start tearing into it to save a customer a few bucks in labor. We're going to fix it right. That's what we do in our shop, and if the job pays a lot of labor, because it is labor intensive to do it right, then that's what we gotta do. Now, there is a cover missing here. We were diagnosing this, so we'll show you once we get the condenser out where it's hit, but for now, let us pull the front bumper. And for that, we start with removing some of the bolts at the top, which we have 4 of them here, and the rest from the sides and underneath. Well, let's do that. Okay, now we have the radar sensor, which is connected somewhere, and that somewhere is okay. I think this bumper has one big connector. So the thing with these bumpers, you used to have the fog lights, that's about it. Some of them have a washer or whatever. This has a radar sensor, which we're gonna have to calibrate as well at the end when we're done. But the way they're changing the designs is for assembly, of course, not for us. They used to have a connector here, connector there, and if they has parking sensors, so they consolidated everything into one connector on the side. So you clip it, and then you clip the bumper on. So that's why it's pointless to disconnect the radar sensor here. But this bumper is basically ready to go at the top. Let's raise the car up, let's get the sides, and then we'll pull it out and we'll see how this goes. So here's the first decision we have to make. In order to remove the bumper, you have to remove this wheel arch. And I don't want to just remove it till here and just leave it hanging and it'll break. So I'm going to remove the whole thing. But in order to remove the whole thing, I have to pull the mud flap. That's what we're going to start with here. Only good thing about this car is it's not super old and rusty. So that's, I suppose, is the good thing. Just have a clip at the bottom. Yes. This clip will be full. But no, actually, she is cooperating. Now we have a whole barrage of clips. Now the nervous moment. It just doesn't want to separate. Oh, it's a new car. It doesn't mean it hasn't accumulated some dust and stuff. There it is. There's one wheel arch. This is where it clips into the bumper. We could have just clipped it, unclipped it till here and just leave it hang, but that's how you scratch the bumper. But now this bumper is actually ready to come out. I don't see anything else here connecting it. Make sure. Yes, there is nothing else holding this bumper on. So we're gonna basically do the exact same thing on the other side, and then let's lift it some more, make sure everything else is unplugged from the bottom, and we're ready to pull it out. So these are the two connectors. This one is for the radar sensor, and then on top of it, it's a fog light. Apparently this one didn't have an integrate. So we're gonna pull this one off. This is for the radar sensor. That's the body harness. And then the fog light. Now the other side fog light, I can't reach it because there's stuff in the way. So when we pull the bumper, we have to disconnect it. But at this point, bumper is pretty much ready to come out. So let's pull it out. So we gotta tape this around the headlight so it wouldn't get scratched up. And this is the common areas where they always want you to tape. Just when we remove it so we can be free in case something hits. We're not gonna scratch the bumper up. This is practically a new car. If any of you work in a body shop, you can laugh now. That's how mechanics tape stuff. We are not painting, we're just protecting. So keep that in mind. Next time you have an electrical gremlin, we'll remember you laughing at our tape skills. Okay, that should do this side. We're gonna basically do the exact same thing on the other side, and then let's pull the bumper. So here's the plan. I'm gonna pop this side, Jose will hold it, and then I'll go to that side, and that's the side where we have the, and I think I forgot a bolt. No, that's not a bolt. This is a little bit scary. There we go. There it is. This is ready to go. Is it ready to go? Yes. Jose, hold this side, although I think it'll stay because it's clipped here. I just hold it just in case. Okay. When we pull it, don't just pull it hard because I got a connector on that side. There we go. So let's grab the edge and the top, like top here. Yeah. Let's pull it forward. It doesn't want to go. Okay, I see a clip here, which is my bad. Forgot to disconnect. Hold on. You're good. Just need to disconnect this. Off we go. Let's go that way on that bumper stand. You've never seen a bumper stand, Jose? No. Ladies and gents, Jose has never seen a bumper stand. So all this mess, because of these. You see how they sit on top of the condenser? Here's the condenser right here. And if you remove this without removing the bumper, you're gonna just mangle this. And again, we're not here to save ourselves time. We need to fix the car right. So let us remove some of these life-saving foam. And eventually we're going to want to remove the reinforcement so we can pull the condenser. Pretty large condenser, by the way. It goes all the way from here to here, and I see already where it's leaking. I'll show you once we pull it out. But before that, I would like to remove these, which are clipped here. It's clips, they're not the cooperating type. Actually, we can't remove it yet. We have to remove this, which is the actual bumper. That's, if you didn't know that, this is the actual bumper on cars. The part that we remove, the pretty part, is actually called a bumper cover. But this is the actual bumper. We don't have any more harness. Let's remove it. Memory served well, and Toyota doesn't change their stuff every 3 days, which lately they have been doing. This should be 14s. They are. Now we can remove our giant plastic piece. This is an ambient temp sensor. If you ever see that, this tells the HVAC computer what is the outside temperature. It's always somewhere in this area. And now we do have a clip here. And then we have to pop the top. It's right there. Oh, it's one of those lovely clips that we really dislike. There it is. There it is. This entire mess was for this. Now I can see the condenser. Not even bolted on. That's the best part. In case you didn't know that, they're totally just clipped on. So, one clip. Where are you? Right here. There's. Here's a condenser. It's ready to come out. We do have to remove this, which is in the way. That's not a big deal. So this condenser is held in with a line, with a bolt, which I love. Then we have this very strange looking clip, which, yeah, that's the new stuff they're using these days. Which is super annoying to pull out, but let's hope it cooperates with us. This is a newer car. But let's show you the damage on this condenser, because it's such an unfortunate thing. So if you look right here, that's the area that it's hit. But if you notice stuff like this, or I'm going to make one just so you can see it. These are the fins in between the lines. This is where the refrigerant runs. And this is just to exchange heat between them and the air from the outside. If you get rocks that hit here, like do this is not a big deal. But if you notice right here, it actually hit this line and punctured it. And we have oil. It's very hard to see because this oil is very thin, but I have actually oil at the bottom, oil all over here. So that's what started this entire thing. One rock just decided to hit just at the right place, at the right speed, that is sharp enough to puncture this, and started this entire thing. So let's go remove this condenser and we'll deal with the second problem. Thank you very much, Toyota, for cheaping out on this one. You're gonna hear about it. So before we get to the lines and this, we got to remove this because this is going to be in our way. I'm going to pull this secondary life-saving foam. There's a bolt here, which yes, we are able to get without removing this entire thing. There it is. There's our bolt. Just leave it here. And then we have to remove the latch because there's a bolt behind the latch. I'm going to reattach the latch just with one bolt just to hold it out of the way. So I can take my bolt and not drop it. Now we got this harness attached here. And this bracket should come out. There it is. This is a support for the hood latch. If your hood was not shaking in the front, you get an accident and then the car is fixed and all of a sudden your hood shakes in the front, this is probably loose or damaged otherwise, whichever the case. Now our condenser is ready to go. It's not even bolted into anything. It's just these two clips. So I'm able to. Oh, this is not fun. Before we get to these, that's the next battle we're gonna have because these are not working with me. We got to deal with the lines, and this line is fine. This one, let's get closer and I'll show you what's going on here. So here's the situation. Do you see how this is beautiful? Has a bolt. You take the bolt, pull the line, nice and secure. Then there's this thing. Toyota, stop using this stuff. And this reminds me a lot of other manufacturers that don't make reliable cars. At least we have one. So let me show you how simple this one is. Bolt comes out. There's going to be a hiss. That is normal. System is empty, but you'll always have a look. Well, I guess this one is completely empty. So bolt, line, o-ring, life is great. Very simple. Not so simple with that. And here's the downside of this style. When this car is 15 years old, this bolt, which already has all this beautiful corrosion, this is aluminum, this is steel, will weld itself here, and the same thing with the line. You won't be able to separate it. That's the downside. The good side is when it's fine, you just pull the bolt, pull the line, it's secure, nice, there's no drama. Now this is the new thing that they're doing. Actually put this one here, where you have these plastic clips which you have to use, push it in, use a plier to push the tabs in, and then pop it out. Of course it's plastic. Every time you do this you have to replace the plastic pieces, and then they break and they don't want to go, and we're going to be fighting this for a minute. Why can't we just do this? Why? We're gonna be fighting this for a while now until it comes down, and then of course the tabs broke. Now we're gonna be using screwdrivers, and it just, I don't understand this part. Do not understand it. This saves the worker at the factory 2 seconds. He looks like a hero, and then we deal with it now. Stop doing this stuff, Toyota. It's horrible. Let's try this again. The manual literally tells you push this in, put pliers here until they break, pull the line out. Doesn't work very well, and this is a one-time use clamp. So what's the plan here? Here's the pliers. You know what? It's out actually. It's just stuck on the o-rings. There it is. I mean, when you look at this horrendous little thing, look, it's already broken. If you didn't know this, and you go in, and you didn't order this, well, guess what? Now you're stuck. Look at this thing, little plastic piece. Is it gonna work? Sure, but why? Why, when we have this style, the nice style? And here's the best part: they put 2 o-rings because they know this is. Yeah, this moves a lot, unlike a bolt that holds it in place. Anyways, blood pressure can come down now. We got it. We already got the new clamp, of course. This is already gone, disintegrated. Imagine how this is going to look like in 15 years. Are these going to be just popping on their own, and we'll be replacing clamps? That wouldn't be good. Moving on to the next horrendous plastic thing. Then the next one is this one. I tried the other side. It was not going. You basically have to squeeze these two, pull the condenser. Hopefully it works. This one seems to not be working very well. Yeah, I didn't think so. I just don't want to break it because that's part of the... Okay, well, this doesn't want to go. Oh, let's start the next fight to get this out. It's great for assembly, I'll tell you that much. It's terrible for disassembly because it's literally stuck. There it is. Did anything break? No, it did not. Well, the condenser. So if you ever have to remove the condenser, you might damage it just removing it for whatever reason you need to. Actually, just to replace the radiator because this doesn't come with it. Well, let's do the other side. Hopefully that doesn't break, and then we'll pull it out. Let's try this side. Okay, that came out without incident. Let's pull this condenser out. Now we have to remove the horns out of the way. So I have to swing the condenser up. Just clipped on at the bottom. Just hang these here. There it is. One condenser. Too bad we're doing all this just for a little rock that hit it. And see this up close. Here's that. and this end. I just wish this end was like this. Not the end of the world. And this car is a 2022 model, just over 30,000 miles. But you look how much stuff accumulated on the radiator. I get you a closer shot here. Look at this stuff. I mean, here we almost have a complete clog. We'll clean this up. Folks, this is not going to do a lot, but I mean, this is in 2 years. We built up this much. Imagine how, say, a 600,000 mile car would look like on an original radiator. Not like this, that's all I'll tell you. Let's clean that real quick. We'll move on. Only way to clean this is to use air. Before we do that, make dust. I'm going to cover the lines so stuff wouldn't get in there. There we go. Now let's get all this stuff out. Forgot to ask you, Jose, do you have allergies? I'm sorry, it's too late now. Well, that's a lot better. You'll never get the rest of the stuff until you take this radiator out and just hose it down with water, but this is a lot better than how it was, and we're going to leave it at that. Let's install the new condenser. There is a fun fact. When I guess this is where I'll give them a small, very, very small break. When I opened the new condenser, there was a lock, that horrendous plastic lock, and the O-rings for the one line, not the other line, but the one line. So I guess we'll give them that. At least they thought about it and they included it. So when you go buy a new one, you get the lock and the O-ring with it. That's it. It's in. See how simple that was? That's why they make it like that, folks. Because it takes you no more than 2 seconds to install it. And this side is actually not sitting. This one is. Now it's better. It takes you no more than 2 seconds to install it. That's why they do this, folks. Because imagine if you have bolt here, bolt here, bolt there, bolt there. It'll take the worker a lot of time to put all these bolts. While if you just clip it in, they don't have to do that. That's why they do this. So now let's do the nice line first, and then we'll do the horrendous one. New O-ring for this line. Let's get the old one out. We're gonna coat the O-ring with some oil. Mind you, this is, we even forgot to talk about this fun part. This is not R134. This is 1234YF. What a funny name for a very interesting refrigerant here. There's that one. Again, doing this at the factory seems impossible for the factory workers. Not impossible, folks. We say all these things, but the truth of the matter is, automotive manufacturers have never cared about repair. They always cared about manufacturing, especially Toyota. So they'll sometimes do stuff that just don't make sense, but it does make sense for assembly. It's always will take you longer to disassemble Toyotas than assemble them, especially the modern ones, because they're built to be put together the fastest way possible, not to be repaired the fastest way possible. That's always been the case, and especially now. So here's 2 O-rings, and this little bag came with the condenser, so I guess we'll, because I ordered them separately, so I was not sure from the manual if they were going to come with or not. I'd rather order extras than be working on it and I can't finish the job. It delays the customer even more. This is their main car. So let's install the two O-rings. I can return these. Actually, I'm going to take them off the ticket, just so we're not charging the customer for them, because they came with the condenser. But I think I'm not going to return them. I'm just going to keep them for a rainy day. One of these days we're working on these, and one of them broke or something or another happened to it. I'd rather have spares, because this looks like is the way of the future. There we go. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on these. Now I'm going to do the clip. I really dislike this clip. Hey, look at this flimsy little thing. There it is. There we go. Look how simple this is to install. Before I say that. And it does want to go in. Come on. Doesn't want to lock. Why don't you want to lock? You live and learn. This was backwards. I still don't get why this is the case. It's so ridiculous. Here we go. I see what they mean by breaking the thing. This just doesn't make sense. Okay, I mean, it works. Line is there. It's secure. We're okay. How simple that is. But I still don't like it. I'm old school. I like the old school ways. Just bolt. Not going anywhere. Life is great. Let us reassemble the rest. Put our support back, which is now full of leaves and stuff from. I'm gonna do something interesting. Folks, one thing about, I don't know if you know this, I mention it now. When you install radiator support, like this piece up top or the latch, the bolts that hold them are not whichever bolts. They are actually, they have a little cone at the end of them, and they're meant to line it up. See how the latch moves as I tighten it? Because it's positioning it exactly where it needs to go. They are by design like that. So always use the proper bolts for the hood latch, because that lines it up. Now this guy will not want to stay here. Oh no, staying. Being nice to me now, of course. Folks, this is not a bad job. I just wanna, in case you are a mechanic watching and you're gonna think what are we doing here? What I'm trying to say here is there's little stuff with new cars that just makes you wonder a little bit. I don't think that went like that. That went like this. Like that plastic clip and having to remove the entire bumper to do a condenser. And then, of course, when you remove the bumper, this is a safety sense car. You have to calibrate the radar. And all the risk damaging the bumper. As these cars get older, all these bolts will be rusty and nothing will come apart. It's just a bit much. That's what I'm trying to say here. Is it hard? It is not if you do this for a living. Now let's install these, which made us do this whole thing to begin with. You know, air deflectors. What would you call these? That's all they do, really. I don't know how old cars did without them, but they did somehow. So we didn't have them. Clip for you. One connector. The other side. Side is has the line in the way. We do this. Oh, there goes that piece. It's okay. Emma, you can do this. Okay. Let's put this up. I have a feeling this is gonna fall again. Now we are ready for our, it's also called crossbar bumper. Bumper is the more technical term. Crossbar is more the term you're gonna hear. Nice. We are running out of parts. That's a good thing. Okay, I think it's all back together. Let's put this on. I have a feeling, for the 17th time of putting this back on, I have a feeling this is gonna fall off again. Be nice. Stay. Let's give this car a face again. I'm just gonna connect this fog light here, and then we'll okay. So we gotta go over. You gotta go in. This with the two holes goes underneath the headlight. You're too high. Yeah, there you go. Right there. I'm gonna clip my side. Then it'll come in. Oop, we're not lined up. Hang on. Don't push it in. Alright, I got it. There it is. It's clipped in. That's it. We have a bumper. Let's peel the tape in case one of these want to stick down, not come out. I'm gonna install the top bolts here just to secure it at the top, and we'll get the rest of it done. These top bolts in most cases are also locator bolts. They have a little shoulder at the back, so they would line things up as they tighten. So don't use any bolts for this stuff, otherwise nothing will sit right. Okay, I like this. Looking pretty good. Let's do the sides, button it all up. I'm even gonna put the bottom covers. Then we'll move to charging, and then lastly, this guy. Now that this side is done, we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Let's button up the bottom, start charging. So we got everything done. We got the lines hooked up. We got the machine here. This car takes actually 1234YF, not 134. So before we do anything, we're gonna put this car on a 25-minute vacuum. We are connected. So here's what we're doing here. So he's gonna pull a vacuum on the R134 side. Folks, this machine, I bought it for this purpose. It does both. It does R134 hybrid, non-hybrid, 1234YF hybrid, non-hybrid. So every time you work on the AC system, you expose it to the elements. The main thing with the elements is moisture. These systems do have a dryer, but that dryer is meant to get rid of the last moisture left in the system. But when we put it on the vacuum for 25 minutes, it's going to draw a very deep vacuum. That vacuum is actually going to boil the moisture in the system, and we're going to have a moisture-free system. But we got to let it run for at least 25 minutes, if not more. In this case, 25 minutes. The system was not open for 2 months. So it was just open for a few moments here. So 25 minutes, we're going to just jump right through when it's done, and we're charging it. It's a little bit of a cumbersome process to charge this, so we're going to go into the last charging process. Once we charge it, we're going to test it. Everything's good. Then we're going to calibrate the radar sensor. The machine is all done. We did the vacuum. We actually charged it. So now here's what the machine is going to do. It's going to compensate for what's in the line. The way we do that is we're going to disconnect the high side, because that's the high pressure side. And we're going to use the compressor of the car to pull through the low side what is left in the AC line. Let us start this car, Jose. Let's finish this part and we'll talk about it. AC is already on. Yes, we have AC. Let's charge the last bit here. The way you know there is AC when it's running, just grab the low side. It's cold. It's very cold. So we have AC. Right now it's compensating for the last bit. Almost done. All right, shut it off, Jose. Let's put the caps on. There's this one. Now what the AC machine is going to do when we're done is going to take out whatever refrigerant is left in these lines of the machine, and that's what we compensated for. So let's put the caps. We're going to call this job done. Once the cap wants to go on, it really is not wanting to go on today. Really gonna give me a fight? This does not want to go on. Not today. The question is, I noticed that I have a few caps here. No, that's the only cap, so she's really not working with us today. Oh, you can do it. There you go. There we go. And that is one job done. But wait, we still have one more very important thing to do. We have to calibrate the radar sensor, because we pulled the bumper. Even though this car hasn't been in an accident that I can see, even though it will more than likely be okay, but this is a safety system. You can't just skimp on things. Let's just get it done. We already have it set up. Let's get it done and over, and we call this video done. So to calibrate it, we have a reflector that's set at a specific position away from the car, and it's perfectly centered to the car. That is how you calibrate these. We're gonna actually do a little experiment here. Did removing this bumper make the sensor out of adjustment? There's actually a way to do that. So there's a utility here that actually shows you what is the current reading from that position. So there is a reading or calibration for the horizontal and vertical. We want to see off of that point, which is a calibrated point. So we're going to select that we are using the pyramid. It's going to read it right now. See, we're actually out of adjustment on the vertical side. So the spec is, it wants to be to that reference point that we are using. It needs to be between negative 0.5 to positive 0.5 degrees. So my horizontal right now is 0.3 degrees. That's within spec. But my vertical is 0.8 degrees. Now, was that because we removed the bumper or not? That's a story for another day. But here's what here's what the adjustment is. You're gonna tell the computer that point that you're reading right now is the 0 point. So we're gonna adjust it to that. The way the radar sensor works, it needs to know, it needs to calibrate the distance. Okay, this set point that we are set, we know exactly how far that is, we know exactly what angle it is. We want to tell the computer that we are zeroing out to that. Now it's when you go driving in the street, and that beeping is it setting it. When we go out driving in the street, it knows how far that car in front of you is actually. That's how this works. So now if I go back to my reading, they should actually read zeros. And let's see what it reads here. It's actually reading 0, 0. Now we are locked into our target. It's telling us 0. We are all done. This job is done. We don't have anything else to do with this car. So tomorrow I want to do a few things. I want to drive it, make sure everything is good. And then we have to do a little bit of cleanup. Just kind of air up the tires in case, just check them at least, check top off all the fluids. And then this job is done. Folks, modern cars are getting complicated in some areas, not complicated or less complicated in others. Less complicated in the technology part, where before you used to have these ancient computers that there are so many of them and they're so complicated and their network's so complicated. Now you don't have that, but at the same time, just to do a simple condenser, you have to tear the whole front. And then you have the sensor to calibrate, and that all adds up to labor and cost. That's the problem with modern cars. But this modern car hopefully will not have other issues, because that 1234YF refrigerant, very expensive. And the problem is, I noticed that the leaks on 123YF, very difficult to find. Very difficult to find. Once everything's said and done, the gas is gone and there is nothing really to work off. You can barely find them. We got, I want to say, lucky with this one, that we was kind of an obvious hit and we saw the trail of oil. Usually that's how you find it. But some of these, they're really difficult. Like if you have an evaporator leak, it's very difficult to find once the leak has already happened and is done. You have to kind of charge it and hope, and that's actually not what you're supposed to do. You can't charge a system and hope you're going to find the leak. That's not a good way. And that's where we have problems with 123YF being very expensive of a gas. That's the other problem. Same thing with 134. It used to be expensive when it came out, and then dropped down. And I noticed the prices are trending down for 123YF, because all the modern cars will have that, and that's the future, I suppose. And we really don't like the process for it. I hope it changes. It's very complicated. Folks, I hope this video is helpful and informative. I hope you learned something new. If you like it, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some of my other videos. Until the next video, folks, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have yourself a wonderful day.